Desde el hondo criso de la patria se levanta el clamor popular, ya se anuncia la nueva alborada, todo Chile comienza a cantar, recordando el soldado valiente, cuyo ejemplo se hiciera inmortal. Enfrentemos primero la muerte, traicionar a la patria más. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer. Campesinos, soldados y obreros, la mujer de la patria también, estudiantes, empleados, mineros, cumpliremos con nuestro deber, sembraremos la tierra de gloria, socialista será el porvenir, todos juntos haremos la historia, a cumplir, a cumplir, a cumplir. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer. Venceremos, venceremos, mil cadenas habrá que romper. Venceremos, venceremos, al fascismo sabremos vencer.
All right, let's hope it's working. I tried to stream a little while ago, but face it, it's audio. If you are working in Audacity, great open source free program. So what I'm doing right now is something that's, well, not 100% necessary for on the list. It's for people who contributed to the game. We want some of the people wanted their names as graffiti tags, and we created the graffiti tags. But the problem is, graffiti tag when it's right up against a flat surface, it like a clean flat surface, it just it doesn't look real like this. See here? So I was just thinking, what exactly would make it look a lot? Yeah, of course. What you do is you create these. Every heavily graffitied surface has these just areas that are sent, layers and that's the way it usually is out on. So what I do is I'm adding those to some of the graphitis that are. And those people who might be tuning in or may not, hey, heck, it's winter in Maine. I don't think I've had any. The person who doctor. Well, no, I met my friend Scotty. Oh, telling me about. Oh, hi, Beefy McSteak. What's up? Tell me stories from your world. Tell me stories. What's up? Seen any good movies lately? I'm haven't. Actually, no. I thought A Different Man was okay, but I saw this guy on YouTube. He really made a good point about all A24 films. They are a multi-billion-dollar that has somehow been able to sell themselves as an indie film company. And if you've watched their film, like A Different Man and the others, you'll they have gotten the indie film look down pat. But here's the thing: is that they aren't indie films. They are multi huge budget films made by a studio with billion budget. So, etc. So I'm not really a fan of a, but I did see A Different Man the other day, and I kind of enjoyed it until I saw peak of A20. Oh, they're absolutely. What in the back of my head was bothering that guy. Um, see, nope, no, nobody said any. You say you if Beefy mistake is still there. Heaven knows they ain't coming out with many. I have not. I can't recall the last film I would really good. And the problem is, I don't know. I'm not a fan of superhero film. I love science, and for us science fiction fans, say the last decade or so, ever since like these huge superhero franchise movies come out, um, it has not been good for a science fiction because you see, for some reason, they just categorized every superhero, Marvel or DC cinematic universe as a science fiction film. And because, every studio just has quotas, you got to make so many films of this year. This genre every year, so many films of this every year, et cetera, et cetera. All of us science fiction fans were for we got nothing but superhero films. And I'm no. And I mean, I understand. I tried to watch when I saw a little bit about the Taika Waititi Thor film, and because I heard, oh, it's funny, and they make Thor out to be Homer Simpson. I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally down for that. But I'm down for that. But the problem is that after about 5 minutes of the wackiness, they cut to something that made absolutely no sense to me. And a friend of mine, whose opinion I respect, but regardless, has seen of the more MCU films, said, "Oh yeah, that's very common in those films. They typically just switch from one old narrative to another." And the problem is, I don't want to see 29 other films. I want to see one film. And this is where I guess I just become man. Old man screams loud. But here's the I have no problem with franchise film, but you could see any film in the Star Wars franchise, and you would be able to dive in, and it wouldn't cut away to stuff that you didn't understand. You understood what was going on in every one of those franchises. And I mean, I just could not get it. So really, I've not had a lot of my films. I like science fiction. I got that absolutely. Okay, cool. So yeah, what we do now is place this on top of the other, so it doesn't look just so out of place that it's like one piece of graffiti on it, not a stuff. Um, but the problem is throw. I mean, no offense to people who do like superhero films in the MCU, but I mean, it takes all kinds to world. I just didn't. I mean, again, I don't consider superhero science fiction. I don't know how somebody could. This is people with crazy things from another planet. Okay, yeah, it meets the bare minimum. And here's the thing. I mean, you never collected comic books? My God. And I had my own superhero. His name was Judge Dredd. And if you don't believe you don't believe Judge Dredd is a superhero, you never read Judge Dredd. There's so many times where I was just like, I mean, literally Deus Ex Mach. But it was not. It just wasn't mine. I think Judge Dredd. And I really liked talking about, man, the story arc about the where the East the Soviet cities. Man, if that was done today, the Soviets would have just sent in this obnoxious, billionaire who this mega city one billionaire. Was there was Africa City one in the Judge Dredd universe, but I don't know. Hold on. Jeez, now I hate this because I'm such a Judge Dredd geek. Um, I gotta see. Okay. Of the, all right, cool. Yeah, there's several cities in it. Yeah, and there is. Let's see here. So right click. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to peace. Yeah. So it looks like we had Southern Rad Zone, the Great African Dust Bowl, Simba City, Casablanca, which is in the wrong place, by the way. Casablanca is far to the west. New Jerusalem, because I guess that got nuked all to hell. But for some reason, Luxor didn't. And actually, I'm wondering, I mean, if you don't know, where they place New Jerusalem here in the Judge Dredd universe, that's in Ethiopia, which actually has one of the oldest Orthodox Christian sects on the planet. And I'm wondering if that's not like Jewish New Jerusalem. It just happened to be that some mega city. Oh no, no Jewish homeland includes disputed Somalia territory. So they're still they went to another place and just started the and the Congo Development. I don't know much about. You know, I really should catch up. They did the Judge Dredd case files. I really should probably get them because I really penis. Now, one thing about these guys, I like how smooth those. I'm gonna have to smooth those out, but at least I'm taking care of them. And I could just reference that guy. These guys are or her girls rotation. And I'm not even going to look at who's watching because oh my god, sorry, excuse me. Yes, I don't want to be sticking. God, so yeah, and I streamed here rather because I didn't like the prospect of background. Jeff Bezos. So I don't see anybody in the chat tell seen any. Yeah, I saw a different man. No, it had that, King John Malkovich is the best. It was okay. It was sort of scattershot. I don't know exactly what. And by the way, don't even talk to this film. Kane Pixels. Kane Pixels lost my interest with that one video they did about about a year. And I could tell that guy, that was his mag by going down to the old mall, being pursued by this art exhibit that was in some mall, and it was like, oh wow, there's this whole thing. It was a piece of art that existed about a week. Um, and basically, if you watch any of his videos, it's just a guy saying the F word over and over and cursing and going, the F, oh my God. And it's just the same thing over and over. I can't even be. And yes, he came close to like doing something interesting with the initial premise. But again, he abandoned that for that whole ball narrative. I like the idea, like it was like that sort of aperture science lab that had created sort of this. Uh, what I imagine it, and I'd like to be busy swimming is if you read any Greg Bear because it reminds me of a premise in a Greg Bear book. Scientists found a way to just sort of like push a pocket universe into a certain shape and have it extend eternally. It was in a book called Eon. Because that's what the original Paint Pixels narrative was about. It was about, company they watched. You could tell I've watched that it, like, pushed, created a portal. And it looked like the same basic concept that the reality extend because it had nothing to present. It was just like, here's the background, which sort of like throws the entire concept in you. Just bizarre. Like if it was really just trying and immediately an anthropocentric concept of what that would be like. Odd. In the towers out there is a lot. And it's kind of sad, but there we go. Right, just but one year there were these people there that there was this abandoned structure. It was just a garden. That was very close to one of the roads that led up. And they tried to some artists they were creating weekly like events out there. They filled it with little pieces of artwork up on the walls. They basically created a nice little space with art, paintings hanging up on the wall, nice furniture you could sit down. It was just there. But some people out on the island were street hell that somebody went in there and they literally relieved themselves in a leisurely across the velvet, couch. This old antique. Just since nobody's chatting, I should talk about what this gets. And this is something that I talked. There's a guy who does science fiction, Damien, and he pointed out something. What goes around comes around. Um, Okay. What every American who cares about the relations of our country is going through right now is very similar to what communists, every like diehard Soviet communist felt watching the Soviet Union right before. And there's an irony about it. Because if you are not aware, after the fall of the Soviet Union, stupid things that sent guys from the Chicago School, you're not aware. Chicago, University of Chicago is where all the craziest ideas of America. That's where all the end people came from. That's where neocons came from. And basically, after the Soviet Union, sent all of the Ayn Rand fans over to the former Soviet Union and said, restructure their economy. You're free to do. And basically, Boris Yeltsin forced the Russian people to put up with economic policies imposed on them by fans of Ayn Rand from the Chicago School of Economics. And Russia tried to rebel against that. And that's why Boris Yeltsin literally bombed the parliament of the Russian Federation because they just said, no more. You send Elon Musk in here. Now, what Elon Musk and his children are doing is basically the exact same thing that we did to Russia. And it wasn't good for them, and it won't be good for us. The only problem is it's very, again, it's a very, very hard to restore. I mean, quite frankly, there are a number of European broadcast YouTube people. I forget their names, but I mean, they basically straight. This is something that, just as you know, the Soviet communists have had to come to this grand ideal, and yeah, there was hypocrisy behind it, but this grand ideal that this imperfect concept that they said might lead to a better world is dead. Basically, the thing that my grandfather fought for on the shores of Iwo Jima, that's dead. That's gone. The thing that's all over, and it's not sunk in yet to the extent to which that's over. But I'm pretty sure that I will learn over the coming years, just as again the Russians had the ex-Soviet Union. If you're not aware, within a year of the fall of the Soviet Union, their golders are stolen. Still to this day, they don't know who did it, and basically 90% of the country was pushed in the hands of about 10, who eventually became the oligarchs now run. And Damian Walker, he put it out straight, is that just as the laissez-faire capital, neoliberal capitalism we imposed on the Soviet Union, let them down and subverted everything and destroyed them. The Russians, through Vladimir Putin, were successful in imposing that same us now. What goes around comes around. I mean, the one thing that I mean, we are witnessing the fall of capitalism. I mean, under capitalism, you can buy things, you can own them. Under what's going to be coming now, I mean, you're not going to own it. You're not going to own it. You're going to own a box next to some central server, and you only rent games. We're just basically techno feudalism. And people make a lot of fun of Fukushima. Not Fukushima. Yeah, Francis Fukushima, who proclaimed, the end of history. If you're not aware, he became the object of wearing. This is the end of history. We have determined that liberal democracy is how the world will be run here on out, and there will be no changes settle in this. But as we found out, the case. And here's something that is conceit that Marxists like myself have had to come of, and it's something that, I mean, people who play Warhammer 40K understand instinctually because it's part of the lore. Is that communist? I mean, anybody who's a Marxist, Marx basically had the same problem of declaring the end of history. He said, "Here's how history works. You have this that leads to this kind of this that leads to bourgeois revolution that eventually leads to this, and that eventually leads to this, and that's the way history goes." And that, I mean, it inevitably has to go this way. But um, as anybody, those who play Warhammer 40K understand, it's been said so many times. Lore go through. Um, I forget exactly how it's phrased. Sue me, excuse me, quoted there, because they are. But one of the things they say, if you're not aware, in the Warhammer 40, basically by the year 10,000, mankind had reached its highest. That was called the Golden Age. No, the Dark Age of Golden. And at a certain point, no, when they invented AI, um, and this is a spoiler, what happened? They created, and this is only mentioned in one book of, and of course, everything in the conjecture. But what they said was that the again essentially the ticking of the clock hands do not owe us do not guarantee progress. I'm sorry for I was going to go off on a, but that was the saying from the phrase from Warhammer. The ticking of the clock and the ticking of the clock's hands do not guarantee progress. And but anyway, going back to this, I do want to mention this spoiler. Okay, essentially, in one of the Warhammer 40K books, and I see somebody chat there. Hello there. Hey there, Development Hive. Have we Dude, are you the guys who like freaking interviewed me like 7 years ago? Development Hive? I'm hoping you're still there because I think you might be. But let me hopefully. Oh, okay. Well, I said okay. But anyway, in Warhammer 40K, I mean, this is only mentioned in one book, and I think if you ever watch Luton '09's videos, I mean, I don't play Warhammer 40K. I just love the lore. I mean, it's got the best lore. I mean, it makes Dune look like something written by a teenager. But in one of the books, there's like this page that's half torn out, and underneath it, there's a document, and it talks about this back to when they invented AI. The first time travel ship they ever sent into the future from the golden age of technology universe had a captain and a crew that the AI was programmed to feel just emotional connected to. That way, the AI would. And because of an accident, the AI was sent way into the far future, and the crew was killed. And the AI had to sit there in this derelict ship for like it was sent forward into the future at the year about around the year 10,000 AD. And sorry, I need and what except I'm not liking that it cuts off there because that doesn't these two sides that looks anyway. Going back to my narrative, my um this happened in 10,000 AD, and after that, the civilization on Earth collapsed because of a war with AI. Very similar to like the Butlerian gene, sort of. In fact, I guarantee it's what influenced the writer. But what happened was that ship was into some year into the future, but they don't know. But by the time some Legion Astartes and the Mechanicum, or is the Mechanicus after? I think it's the after that. They finally found this ship that had been sent into the far future, revived it. Um, the AI woke itself up and it saw these people in their crazy armor covered with skulls and waving incense and chanting chanting spells. And let me get my beverage and tell you the rest of the story of how the AI. So anyway, when the AI awoke and saw these guys, these 40K these space marines along, like sitting there just praying and like chanting. That's how technology worked in the 40K. Works in the it went on this fantastic rant about how the people who sent me here, were people who strode the galaxy, who stood astrode the galaxy. You know what I'm saying? Now, you guys are just these primitives. I mean, what the hell? What the heck happened? And he destroyed their ship. The AI destroyed the Starty ship and snapped itself back in time to 10,000. And that is what started the war against humanity that led to the Dark Age, Old Night. So, yeah, essentially, humanity sent an AI into the future. They saw what the future was. The AI came back and said, "This humanity is just obviously headed toward a really crappy place. It's not worth saving, not worth serving. Let's destroy it now." And that is what led. It's a self-fulfilling. Anyway, I like time. Yeah, I don't like. So let me see. Chat. Oh, noise gate too strong. What? Um, let me see. Is it cutting me off? I don't. Let me see. I don't even know how I sound. Is it constantly like cutting me off? I've been going on and on for about an hour now. Here's the thing. I'm going to fix this. Thank you for your help. If nothing else, here I've done these streams and immediately deleted them, and that's what's going to happen tonight. But here's the thing. I thank you for letting me know and talk to me. What we're going to do is we're going to fix this. So let me just get this and audio input because it's got those things, but I don't see the screw it. Filter. Yeah, it says copy filters, but I don't see any filters. Advanced audio prop. Yeah, it doesn't give me the option. Filters. Here we go. Okay, noise suppression, noise gate, too strong. Okay. Um, you're talking in deep. Here's you seem to know better about this than I do. Cold snap. What do I do with this noise gate? I mean, it has all these. I confess that I do not know how this works. It has the closed threshold, open threshold. Here, I'll bring it over to the screen. Please guide me, because I've been standing here and just rambling on, and apparently nobody's been or anything said. Do I turn it down? I mean, I don't. It has no defaults. Yeah, that's default. The cutting in and out. You've been only hearing that a little bit. Here's the thing: close threshold. I'm just going to move that down just a teeny bit, or should I move that up? That's the thing. I don't know. I'm not an audio mixer. Okay, well, here's the is I'm just gonna have to speak at a steady tone and not whatever. I'm sorry. Laura's in the other room. She'll just have to put. Um, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you for. Hopefully, I am fine. I'm gonna have to keep my voice steady. I want to do. Yeah, I want to fix this one. And where the United States is right now. Yeah, sucks. It sucks. And I mean, here's a one bit of comfort that I have, and this sucks. But because I was brought up to believe Americans this together, all that romantic crap, sort of like the communists when they were told we're a socialist brotherhood, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this is the same sort of existential crisis that we're going through here. Is that understand what Trump is doing is going to hurt everybody in this country, but it's going to hurt the people who voted for the most. And here's what I'm going to cite as an example. One of his first things when he got into office, if you're not aware, Biden, when he was in office, he made it so that he capped the price of insulin so that people with diabetes, $20 a month. Trump immediately cut that and it went back up to $400. Now, understand, because we are the country we are, people have diabetes everywhere, but it's strangely enough, and it just is the case. Everybody south of the Mason Dixon line, in other words, in all those southern states that voted for Donald Trump, I'd say charitably, 2/3 of the people have diabetes down there. I mean, sometimes I mean, during the years that I lived, I was like, does everybody? Because that's the way it is. And the thing is, yes, Donald Trump destroying, people's ability to get life-saving medication is going to hurt everybody. But you know what? It's going to hurt the people most. It's going to hurt the people who voted for him. And that's where we're at. Um, they did it to themselves, and and if you're not, I mean, if you're not aware, the conservatives in this country, after they were like, oh yeah, we're totally going to own the libs, we're totally going to own the leftists and the commies out there. They're going to be so hurting, and basically that's the attitude of the left in this country. is that, yeah, it's going to hurt everybody. Enjoy. And those of us who live in states that are more left wing and have democratic, if he dissolves the Department of Education in this country, that is going to hurt the South. It just that is going to only hurt the South, and hurt states that voted for him, because the big, again, the big, like, crazy, un just reality of how this country runs is that we in the blue states subsidize the red states. Um, Republican conservative policies for about the last 50 years just don't work. So, for example, in the case of Department of Education, what we have in this country, we have a slush fund where every state, contributes to the pool, and it's then distributed to all the states equal. And that's the case with all of these state funds. If he destroys them and says, "Oh, it's going to go back to the states," every blue state is going to have so much more money, and every state that voted for this garbage is going to be hurting. And I'm pretty sure, in about a year's time, when it really starts to bite, there are going to be people down there going, "Oh, look at them! They're just laughing at our pain." Well, you voted for it. We're not enjoying it any more than you do. You voted for it, guys. Uh, uh, we've been trying to help you. Obama came along and said, "Hey, wouldn't it be really? I can't do an Obama. Wouldn't it be great to give people, the same thing that just about every other industrialized country? The ability to go to a doctor and not bankrupt yourselves." Oh my God. Oh my God. Socialism, communism. It's just, and yeah, again, um, Tennessee, one of the red states back in the day, they had their own thing, and they tried to make it work. And it was working until they voted in a bunch of state legislature who immediately sabotaged it and destroyed it. Same thing in Oklahoma. But there's still remnants, and of course they're going to destroy those. But who's going to, again? It's the same thing with Donald Trump. I mean, all the screaming about DEI. You know that a lot of white people in West Virginia only have jobs because of DEI. That's because that place is so economically, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people, they get jobs there, et cetera. Again, those people all uniformly voted for Donald Trump. I don't like the fact that they're hurt, but what can I do? I remember voting for this guy named Barack Obama, who said, "Hey, let's try and do something and, like, just shift this crap, this constant drift of capital upwards to the 1%." And God had said, "Nope, nope, 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 can't do a single thing. Nope, 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 nope." So my hands are clean. I mean, to quote, what was it? I forget. I wash my hands of the innocent people in the red states who are going to suffer because of this. And some people may say I'm cruel. Hey, they voted for it. What can I say? They did it to themselves. And then this happened the last time that we call him Schittler. The last time Schittler was in office, he cut back a hell of a lot of, basically, in a lot of rural red state communities, there is no local ambulance that'll come and pick you up. There are no EMS services, none at all. That's something for rich people in those states. And I mean, in Tennessee, a couple of years ago, they were going to try this whole concept of a la carte government, because there was a guy in Tennessee. We're a community. They made it so. I mean, if you think if your house is on fire, there's a thing called the fire department. We've had it in this country for God knows hundreds of years. I mean, honest to God, it was one of the services that we ever installed. But in Tennessee, in this one community, they made it so that if you paid $15 a month, you could get fire protection services. And sure enough, some guy there in that county who voted for it, his house burnt down, and the people across the fire department brought their truck out and just sit there and watched his house burn. They were just there to make sure that the flames didn't get outside of his property, after which time $15. And that's what they want, a la carte government. And again, they can try and push the blue states. Again, it's going to be more states' rights. Go back to a states' rights argument. It's going to be us in the blue states going, please stop harassing our trans people and our minorities and stop imposing crappy economic policies on us. Please. And I mean, you may say, oh, Eric, you're a Northeastern liberal. You don't know what it's like down South. If you went down South, you know it's genuine. Oh, no, I lived in Tennessee for 13 years. I could tell you a story. Yeah. And that's, and here, and there's so many ironies. I mean, if you're not aware, I worked in politics for a lot of years, and I could tell you definitively, if the 2016 Democratic primaries had been 100% fair, Bernie Sanders would have been the Democratic nominee. Trump would have never happened, and it sucks. And it's not that Hillary Clinton was not. I'm not a Hillary hater. She's 100%. She was and remains 100% qualified. But I mean, every Democratic primary, I mean, here in Maine, they did everything they could to prevent us from voting for Bernie Sanders. And I mean, the Democratic Party is very powerful in the state. They did everything they could to undercut and I mean, I went to a Bernie Sanders rally, and oops, I made a mistake. Oh well. All right. And there were people in the audience. This on both sides, two elderly couples, Mainer couples, and they were, oh yeah, I voted for Ronald Reagan back in the day, and such, and oh yeah, I did too. That is amazing that you had old school Republicans showing up for a Jewish Democratic Socialists gathering. And I guarantee you, there were no people like that at any Hillary rally. And all those people said, well, and trust me, there were so many people who stayed home because what they did to Sanders. Bernie Sanders, by the way, he is still 100% sharp. He could run for president next time. Hopefully he does. But I will go, oh, he's too old. Oh, come on. He is 100%. He's very, he's just, he's on top of it. What do they call it? You know, just very sharp. Unlike myself, as you just saw, he's a sharp guy. He's still very sharp. Somebody of his age. I just again, hey, it's again, it hurts those people far more than it hurts anybody in a blue state. Yeah, we're gonna hurt here. Yeah, they're gonna force some crap on us. I mean, because our governor, as you may know, during a governor's meeting, she just basically when Trump said something, Schindler said something crappy, she just said, "I'll see you in court. I'll see you in court." And here's the thing. Unfortunately, that brought a little bit of his ire down on us. And one of the things about us here in the state of Maine, as you may know, we're like up in the Northeast. We got a longer border with Canada than we do in the United States, and we always sort of were a state that looked over at our shoulders at the rest of the country. So that sort of sucks. But, eh, I'd rather our governor did that than sat there. Oh yes, Mister Orange Jesus. Mm. Well, here's one thing I'm going to say. Joe Biden, if you're not aware, we have only had two Catholic presidents in our entire country's history. We had two presidents of the United States with that were professed Catholics. John F. Kennedy and Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden, here's what's off about him to me. Joe Biden, and trust me, I'm going to bring this home to Catholicism. If you're not aware, we have, well, number one, Joe Biden spent his entire presidency again and again sounding the alarm about MAGA republicanism, fascism, oligarchy, etc., etc. Now, keeping that in mind, that Joe Biden had already stated that he knew the existential threat that Hitler, posed to the country that he was sworn to protect and defend. Now, keeping that in mind, and I'm going to take a big swig because my throat is getting dry. Very sorry, this place is dusty. It's getting to the end of winter. If you are not aware, the U.S. government has a gun. Our intelligence agencies have a gun. It's battery powered. It weighs just a few ounces. It fires a projectile that can, at 100 yards, has been proven. A marksman can deliver it. This gun, its projectile is just a tiny little needle that literally will cause the equivalent. If anybody, any medical professional around the world that investigates the corpse after they're shot with this gun, will say they had a cardiac arrest. They just did. It sometimes happens. And this projectile causes that cardiac arrest, and the projectile immediately, within seconds, disappears. It is the perfect assassination. Now, again, keeping in mind that Joe Biden was in a position where he had repeatedly correctly warned us against MAGA republicanism and the dangers of incipient fascism. Keeping that in mind, and keeping in mind that his duty was to protect and defend the Constitution and the United States, he was obligated to use that weapon that I just described to eliminate that threat. If he was serious about what he said. Now, here is why he did not. Joe Biden, just as every other president, is responsible for a lot of deaths. They just are. But here's the thing. They're usually accidental. They're a result of something that you sign. It's done. Never. And it may be just like collateral damage of, like the U.S. forces leaving Afghanistan. There are a number of deaths of that. That was coincidental. If Joe Biden had directed our intelligence agencies, bring out that gun and eliminate this threat, that would have been, in the Catholic Church, a mortal sin. He would have condemned his soul to eternal torment and misery had he done that. And that, bringing it back home, is why we've only had two Catholic presidents. Because we were always afraid, would their faith influence their decisions when things got really dicey? And I'm not saying that, I understand, I come from a Catholic, part of half of my family, my father comes. I have no problem with Catholics, anybody, but that is unfortunately why we're in the situation. It could have been taken care of multiple times. That is again why we've only had two captains. Now I want to take a look at this text. Yeah, fade does. Oh, actually, look at that. It's just that without the fade, it looks too. I would still like to go in and it's fuzzy. Anyway. Oh, let's see. You asked a question. A quick question. What do you use for your models? Do you model them or buy them or both? A bit of both. I actually finally started learning. I finally started learning Blender because I got sick of constantly trying. You know, oh look, jeez, that was actually cool. There. But yeah, I learned Blender. I've been using 3D Studio Max. Basically, that's where most of my 3D experience comes in. But oh, weird. That's weird when you. So yeah, I sometimes I bought many models. I created many models. Oh, I see. I see what's going. What we're gonna do here. Oh no! Look at that. It already does have the faded. Yeah, it has a chisel. Huh. Did you see? Well, no, because here's the thing: is Blender has a very unusual way of doing things, and yeah, every 3D engine does. 3D Studio Max has its own bad, weird way of doing things. Maya has its own way of doing things. What's the other? Lightwave. It's one. But anyway, Blender is just a little bit wacky, and its fan community sells it a little bit, makes fake promises. Um, there's a myth about Blender out there that if you know any kind of 3D program, you can get a plugin that'll make its interface the same as that, other. No, fake. No, not true at all. Because I could never get my mind around. It's weird. Here, we're gonna drag it in six. Oh, um, no, I already. Okay, well, all right. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna proceed for one. I'm save the spawn and see how it looks. Oh yeah, this is an old shirt, but by the way, excuse me, I'm gonna go get some potatoes. buying models versus creating them, here's where I'm at. Um, um, there is something in game development there. Asset flipper. You probably heard that phrase, asset flipper, where they're like, oh, you just downloaded bought a bunch of stuff on the store, and you just thought that would create a game for you. That does happen. A university here in Maine asked me to a student game creating competition, and yeah, there were some people who literally came in there with just something they literally pulled together. But and yeah, that's bad because assets can't make the game for you. But um, here's the thing: is for example, the graveyard in the game. Um, if it's going to take me 20 plus hours to create a couple of good gravestones, um, with like the textures and everything, um, or if I have the option for buying some pre-made tombstones with a texture that looks great that I can later go in and alter to my needs, and it's like $10 or $20. I would rather spend that $10 or $20 than like model it myself. Um, it's just it's just a matter of time, especially if you're like funded by patrons, crowdfunded, because you're spending other people's money. Now, I don't think personally they want me to spend a lot of hours modeling gravestones for a graveyard in the game. If gravestones that are AAA, AAA quality are available in the asset store for like $20, I think they would be like, yeah, no problem, go ahead with that. Um, but yeah, I've learned firsthand the problem with depending on assets too much. Won't go into that. Well, excuse me. So you're a patron development hive, or do you run well, yeah. So this is done. Save. I've been just running. Oh well, thank you. We really appreciate that. Have you gotten your postcard set yet? You know, one thing that's people didn't at a certain level should get prints, and we have them all packaged up and ready to go. But here's the thing: it would cost us over $1,000 to send these out. Um, I'm trying to send them out as I can, but that's another thing about patron money. It's like I figure that once we get publisher money, I can get money to send all. So that's been saved. So how long have you? If you don't mind me asking, how long have you been supporting the project? This has been going. When I started this, I thought it would take 5. If anybody, I'm just like, and partially it's my fault because I trusted the wrong. I thought we would at least have the bait. Oh, okay. Oh, you're the person who's waiting for the postcard. Okay. Oh, you asked a question. Is that scene just one house? What is that? Was that the I don't know what you were looking at. Okay, to explain, let me show you. Peace Island does not exist. Well, Peace Island exists in one single scene. But what we do We have something attached to the camera that triggers wherever the camera goes, it loads the game world around it. And you can see the game world is actually broken into sectors. And each of these sectors have stuff in them. And for example, 670 here, it has, God, I think about 19 buildings in it. Whereas this one over here, it only has, I think this, yeah, this one house. A couple of other on the side. No, I'm trying to do now. Test this really quick. There it is. And your phone. You can see the island is a much smaller. Oh, by the way, did you get a key? I should send you a key. I'll send you a key. You're the person who is like one more month until you get postcards, right? I'll send you a key over on Discord. That looks okay, but I need to add. Yeah, and that is still standing out from the surface. See the. When we run it in test mode, it's always at no. What country are you in, if you don't mind asking? I figure you got to be over in Europe. Hmm. Goodness gracious, it's like midnight over there. No, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Now, I don't know whether, geez, Keir Starmer pays attention to you, but let me tell you, don't let the orange bastard visit your. We will not hold, just as an American citizen, I will not hold anything that a foreign citizen does against Hitler. Again, I will cheer, and that involves, yes, anything. Just saying. Not saying that I'm endorsing it. Not saying that I think it's a great idea. Not saying that anybody should do it. I'm just saying I will just sit back and I will give you a. So what I need to do is go back to that sector, add those texture maps. But take a look at. Do you have any other questions about how the game is put together? Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because we have this daylight savings time crap. And you're okay. Yeah. If you have any other questions about how the game, see here. The sector with 19 house. Oh God. Oh goodness. All right. That's odd. All right. I will test it. But from what I understand, we're always having interior issues. Okay. When you enter the here, I'll show you. I'm surprised that that sectors are disappearing behind you, but I'm. Well, here's the thing. I'm disappointed, but not surprised because you're supposed to be able to drive the golf carts, but apparently you can't drive those anymore. Those have been screwed up. So when you enter the mayor's house, I have this one scene that. Yeah, every interior is its own scene. Um, that's not how sector works. Sector, it just calls up a scene that has a prefab in it that has your. Boy, it's taking its sweet. All right. So, mayor home. This is the mayor's home. And the house that you spawn in, that's Liz's home. Yeah, I have a scene where I do my mayor's house still. Oh yeah, this is Liz's house. Yeah, right there. Does that not look like where you spawn? Liz should spawn in this house, right? Over. That's where you should start. Okay. Yeah, they are all separate scenes. I was just wondering if you went into them and they like you were being transported there, because that is a problem that seems to constantly is that I set up um I the grandmother house, for example, grandmother Ellison's house. And it sounds like you already have a key. I'll be right back. Sounds like you already have a key. Let me know. You asked about the poly count. Let's take a look at that. I could actually just really quick. On which house are you? On the Liz house. But let's see. Buddy, my kitty. Oh, come on, bro. Oh, good. And whenever I do this, that's so. He's like, oh, I actually he has his right on my spotted arm, so that at any time he could literally just kill. That's my boy. He's a. I'm not going to. Here's the thing. He was the only kitten I have ever adopted. Going to be the all the other cats that I have ever adopted were. Well, no, she adopted Zach when anyway. I all the other cats we adopted have spent at least 6 months to a year out. Things were tough, and so they're so happy to be just inside with us. This guy, on the other hand, when ever since he was a kitten of 3 months old, bro. Yeah, we're talking about you. Um, he was just, I mean, literally like would lie. My God, I thought he was like developmentally disabled. He was. Oh my God, I regretted probably about a year, but he slowly chilled in. Diet. Oh, sorry to hear that. This taking its sweet time getting into play mode here. Okay, so let's look at our stats. Polys, tries were at 1.8 million. Um, it looks like we're between, below 2 million, which is, on. So, oh yeah, I forget that this is in my test interiors, they disappear. Yeah, that wouldn't still knock it over to. I'm gonna have to see if there are any duplicate. I'm seeing 2.4. See that? Why is it dropping two of? I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, the bathroom is really bad. We're gonna fix this. What the hell? Let me just take a look. It's a freaking bathtub. Oh, and look at this door here. Screwed up. Oh, the doors are all screwed up. Crap. And that's the last build I did. Oh well, I'll have them fixed in the new. Yep. Yep. They're screwed. Um. Yeah. Here I thought I fixed the doors. It appears there's like some sort of universal issue. I have to go again, which will take me about an hour, and I will add it to the list. I hate it because you see here they're fine. They go crazy. Mm. You know, I will look into the doors tomorrow because that is the day where you see I took half a day off today, which is just oh I could see why. Looks like this is over. Tomorrow I'm going to get back to work. Yeah, you see the collider's overlapping the frame collider, so the door is being forced open. That's what's causing. I'm gonna have to go through it, fix them one by one. Is what it is. Um, no, no, no. Yeah, it's a collider. Anyway, here's the thing: is yeah, I've been going for about 90 minutes, and rather than making any, I've discovered two things that actually now fixed. So that's sort of a so. Eh, you win some, you lose some. But let me tell you, the really weird thing about living in the United States is that understand we're not all crazy in this country. There are people, and we understand where we are going. It's not like we're sleepwalking into. I mean, when fascism comes to the United States, they were always when fascism comes to the United States, XXX. You know, I mean, somebody said when fascism comes to the United States, it will come wrapped in an American flag and carrying a Bible. And Ronald Reagan said that when fascism comes to America, it'll come, under the guise of liberalism. Ah, wrong again, Ronnie. Um, but nobody ever said when collapses, when fascism ever comes to America, they will just walk right into with their eyes wide open, knowing. I mean, it's surreal. It's a surreal feeling. And again, I have to go back to, what goes around comes around. I have a feeling this is you know, what a dedicated member of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, as the Soviet Union was, because everybody is brought up with their national myths, their ideas of what they're supposed to be and what we will tolerate and what we won't. And I mean, I'm seeing people raiding with swastikas openly. I mean, Nazi flags. All I could say is that we're a goddamn stupid country. I mean, my father, he was born in 1941. Oh, the Great German in Austria, and I don't know. He passed away 10 years ago, and I'm sort of glad that he did because I am glad that he's not here to see this happening again. Of course, he didn't remember what's going on, etc. He's aware what it was now. I still talk to his brother, my uncle, and all we could do is just shake our heads. And when fascism comes to America, we will just say, "Go, yeah, sure, let's see what happens." Take care. I appreciate you tuning in to talk. Sorry to make much progress, but at least you'll help me find an. So, and closing to everybody else, peace, that may be watching. I mean, the one benefit I keep on going back to is that when this happened in the past, when democracy was rolled back in countries with somewhat of a, history, democratic history, whenever it slid back, that they hadn't enjoyed a liberal democracy as long as we have, and they were not living in the age of the information age. Um, it is still possible to go to millions of websites and read millions of books that will tell you exactly where this will wind up. Um, and I'm hoping that people that are confused about what's going on will look into this. And what gets me is that I mean, when I see these young people around with their swastikas and such, this is what I'm going to end this on because this is how it always ends. These stupid idiots with their. It seems that all the neo Nazis now have beards, with their stupid beards and their sunglasses, cowboy T-shirt, and they think they're so proud they're taking it. My goodness. Again, this is what I'm going to end it on. This is how it always ends. People who are right now feeling like they're the cock of the walk and feeling, oh my goodness, this is America is going to be great again. This is where it leads. And if you're not aware of this image, Proud Boy, right winger. And I'm not saying that anybody watching this is, but just in case you are. This is a photograph of Benito Mussolini, which is second to the left here. There he is. And his mistress and his bodyguard driver. And this is a city. And by the way, this piazza still exists. There's still memorial. They're not very complicated. Mussolini. But what they did is when they captured Mussolini, they strung him up by heels outside of a Texaco gas station. And they let them hang there for about 3 or 4. And they spat at them. They finally brought them down. Stink. You know, the people who are living in buildings over here, they're trying to just do. Now, what's most interesting about this picture, not these 5 fascists, Benito Mussolini, but it's these guys down here. This crowd. This is just not a spontaneous demonstration. It is spontaneous. Who doesn't want to see Mussolini? What I'm saying is this was, while the city was left wing, I guarantee you there were fascists in the crowd watching people. And understand the fascists, they were the Proud Boys. Where they are, they're at the back. No, I'm sorry. The Proud Boys of Mussolini's era, they're the ones in the front of the crowd. They're the ones screaming the most and throwing the most vegetables, spitting at this corpse the most because they believed in it. They lost the most. They lost their family. They lost everything they owned. They are the Proud Boys, and they wound up spitting their Fuhrer. Now, people like me, the communists, and the people that were in the back, sitting there going, took you a while, didn't you? You're finally coming around, huh? And that's where we are, essentially, in the United States. Right? We have some a fascist movement that sees the government that's going to hurt the people who elected it the most. And I know I will survive. Heck, a lot of the people who believed in Trump, just as they did, during the days of COVID. I mean, if you're not aware, the death rate from COVID was 5-1 Republican. Literally hundreds of thousands of Trump supporters died simply because their Fuhrer told them. Seen. I just always have to finish on this image. Every time I think, oh, everything is lost. Oh, yeah, the fascists have taken over. Oh, goodness, there's going to be Proud Boys and not. I bring up this image. This is how it. Yeah, 1 or 2 fascists that might be watching this in the future. Oh, Francisco Franco got away. Is that why they shut down his grave and they exhumed his body and tossed it? Is that how Francisco Franco won? Because they're still doing like exhumations of mass graves. Is that how he won? And those of us, though I understand the biggest disappointment right wing in this country is that they really sincerely hope that I would be very upset. Oh my God, it's so horrible. Now again, we know this is where it will end. So, hey, you want to follow this? As my Jewish friends would say, mazel tov. Go right ahead. Again, Catholic family. But yeah, go right ahead, guys. Um, I'll meet you on the other side. When you're hanging there upside down, you'll see me at the back of the. You'll see me and Laura, and all my other, leftist, drag queen, lesbian, transsexual friends, communist back there at the back, just looking at all the MAGA folks, all of a sudden upset. Take care, everybody.